All right, our first video lesson. Just going to finish up these notes so you guys can do your worksheet. So we talked about the different kind of angles parallel lines made. And so which of the following are alternate interior angles? So remember that this is the interior of the parallel lines. And alternate means they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So 2 and 6 or 3 and 7. So my only choice up here is 3 and 6. Okay. Which of the following are corresponding angles? Let's erase these lines here. So this one was C. So corresponding means that they're in corresponding positions. So 8 and 6 would be 7 and 5. Okay, so far I don't see any of those. 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. So 1 and 3 would be the answer. Okay, so 1 and 3 are both on top of the lines on the same side of the transversal. Okay, so that's corresponding angles. Vertical angles. Oops, I threw this one at you. Remember, vertical angles are made by two intersecting lines and they're across from each other. So 1 and 7 would be, okay, I don't see that up there. 2 and 8 would be, oh, there we go. 3 and 5 and 4 and 6 would also be vertical angles. So the only choice is 2 and 8. Linear pair. Okay, 180 degrees, they make a line. So there are a lot of vertical pairs up here. Linear pairs. So let's just take a look at what they have. 1 and 7 would be here and here. Okay, those are vertical angles, so that's not right. 7 and 8. What do you guys think? So here would be a line. And 8 and 7 make up that line. So that would be our linear pair. Okay? 3 and 5 are vertical. And 6 and 2 are alternate interior. Okay? So linear pair, two angles that make a line. Okay, and we've already studied vertical angles. Okay, alternate exterior lie on the outside of the parallel lines. Okay, so here's the outside. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal. So we would have a possibility of, 1 and 5 or 8 and 4. Okay, so 8 and 4 would be our option. Okay, same side interior. Okay, interior lie between the two parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. So it's either going to be 2 and 3 or 7 and 6. Okay, and so 2 and 3 is the only one here. All right. So we're going to complete this statement with corresponding, okay? And I am going to abbreviate C for corresponding, AI for alternate interior, same side. Okay, that looks bad. Or alternate exterior. I'll do A, E. Okay? That way we don't have to write these all out. Okay, now we've got 2 parallel lines, 2 transversals. Okay, so we're going to have to look. So 6 and 7. Okay, they are on opposite sides of this transversal and alternating. Okay, and they are alternating interior or alternate interior angles. Okay? How about 1 and 6? So you kind of have to flip your page if you can't see it, because here would be the 2 parallel lines I'm talking about, and here would be the transversal for 2 and 6. Okay? So these angles are both on the bottom, okay? So they would be corresponding. That yellow is really hard to see. Sorry. Sometimes it's harder to see with more than one transversal. So maybe you kind of have to flip. Okay, 2 and 4. Whoops. Excuse me. So 2 and 4. Okay, they're both on the same side of the transversal. However, they're in corresponding positions, both on bottom of the line. So they would also be corresponding. 2 and 6. Now we're going to talk about, again, these 2 lines. And 2 and 6 would also be corresponding. Okay, I did not plan this, so. Okay, hold on. My bad. 1 and 6 are not corresponding. Okay, 1 and 6 are alternate exterior. I can't remember if I said that or not. It's late and I'm losing my mind. So, we'll get through this and it'll be all right. What about 4 and 8? So here's the interior, and they are on the same side of the transversal, so they are same side interior. Okay? And if there's a question on the worksheet, do your best, and then you can ask me when I get back on Monday. Okay, 4 and 7. Okay, so again, I'm going to flip and look at these 2 as my parallel line. And this is my transversal. So 4 and 7 would be alternate interior angles. You could basically cover up the other lines to see. Or just flip them like I said. You'll see more about this in the next slide. Okay, Let's read the directions because there's a couple things that we're going to do here. We're going to identify the types of angles, the two parallel lines and transversal that form each pair. So first of all, K and M and H and G are the lines, okay? They can either be the lines or they can be the transversals. So let's remember also that we will use alternate interior, AI, same side, corresponding, or alternate exterior. Oh, whoops, I do not know what happened. Okay, so let's use those abbreviations again. I don't have a lot of room on here to write. All right, angle 7 and angle 10. So here's 7 and here's 10. Okay, well, I can see that they are, excuse me, on opposite sides on the interior of that transversal. So I know that those are alternate interior angles. The two parallel lines that they are between are G and H. So we're going to go G parallel to H. And what is the transversal? So it's the yellow line. So it's transversal K. Okay, so let's erase those lines and look at the next pair. Nine and 13. Okay, so you're going to have to flip your, oh my goodness. Nine and 13. So if you just flip your paper, you can see that these are the two parallel lines. And this would be the transversal. And those are corresponding because they're in corresponding positions both on the bottom. Okay, so corresponding. Okay, my parallel lines are K and M. And my transversal is G. Okay, the transversal is the one line cutting through the parallel lines making those angles. Okay, 12 and 4. Why do I do that all the time? 12 and 4. Okay, so those are between these two parallel lines. So right away I'm just going to say those. Okay, this is the transversal they lie on. And they are on the same side interior. So same side interior. Okay, one thing that might help that I did not mention is that when you're wondering what transversal to use, your angles will touch the transversal. What I mean by that is if I am looking at this transversal. Oops. Oh my goodness. Transversal H. Okay? 7, 11, 3, 15, 8 and 12, 4 and 16 are all touching that transversal. Okay? So you can't use transversal G for any of those angles because it's not touching them. Okay? If I say, oops, let's say I am using transversal M. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 13, 14, 15, 16 are touching the transversal. Okay? So you'll know what transversal to use because your angles have to be attached to it. Okay? So let's look at the next one. Hopefully that was helpful. 9 and 8. Okay, so 9 and 8 are here. Okay, they are both touching that transversal. That's transversal K. Okay, now they are alternate exterior angles, and the two parallel lines would be G and H. If you flip it and look at 8 and 9 a different way, if you were looking at parallel K and M, they don't make any angles. Okay? And this is the part you might struggle with, so I'm hoping that you can do your best. And I mean, write down what you think, and if not, we'll go over it. So 13 and 15, I want you guys to look at that for a minute and see what you think. Okay, oops, 13 and 15, there's 13, there's 15. Okay, well, they're both touching that line, so that's got to be my transversal. Transversal M. Okay, they are on top of the lines. Okay, so that would be corresponding, and the two parallel lines would be G and H. So basically, you're looking at the angles, determining first what they are. Okay, and then look at which parallel lines they correspond with. Okay, and if you look at 13 and 15, they're not anywhere near K, so K and M could not be your parallel lines. Okay, and your transversal would have to be the one they lie on. Okay, so sometimes this can get confusing, and I don't want you to overthink it. Like I said, do your best on the worksheet. We can go over questions on Monday when I get back. And that is it. So feel free to send me an email also if you have a question and absolutely can't figure it out. So anyways, I will see you guys Monday.